You're listening to the Late Night Football Show with your host, Rohit Singh. That's me. On this show, we talk about some of the most seriously silly topics from the world of football for your entertainment and enjoyment. Please remember that the show is BYOL. Bring your own laughs, since we don't have the budget for a studio audience. Happy listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Late Night Football. It's been a while since we've done this, but like the players, we took a break of sorts from the regular stuff, and I hope you enjoyed what we produced in that time. I hope you've enjoyed watching the Trivia Duo competition if you have been watching it on YouTube. For those of you who have been listening to the podcast on Anchor, TalkShoe, iTunes, Spotify, or any of those other channels, you may have missed the competition because that was held exclusively on YouTube. So if you have not watched the competition yet, please do head over to our YouTube channel to check out the videos from that tournament. The link will be placed in the description below, so make sure to check that out at the end of this video. And for those of you who did see the competition on YouTube, I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember to like and share the videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need more subscribers, and your help is really, really crucial to that. So please help us. All right. After that plug, let's get into tonight's episode. Now, there were 3 big competitions this summer, plus one more ongoing, that is the Women's Champions League. Now, the biggest one, we cannot review that, which is the Trivia Duo competition. No, just kidding. But we can talk about the other 2, which were the Champions League and the Europa League. And since the last review show worked so well with our friends from Fox in the Box, we decided to invite them back for this one as well. So we've got 3 guests here today with us because, budgets are a bit low. But first up, you already know him from the Premier League review show, Nishikant Sharma. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Rohit, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be back again.
Yes. And we've also got an Arsenal fan today who was supposed to be on the Premier League show the last time, but he couldn't make it to that one. So he's making up for it by being here today. Shashwat, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to finally have you here.
Yeah, thanks, Rohit. I hope you guys are doing fine. All
right. And finally, you can't ever discuss football without a Manchester United fan, it would seem. So we have Aakash Bhatia here to fill that quota for us. Hello, Aakash.
Hey, Rohit. Thanks for having me here. Looking forward to it, man.
I'm just kidding. But thank you so much, guys, for agreeing to be on the show. It's a real delight and an honor to have you here. I know you guys have been diligently following the competitions, even though your teams, or should I say our teams, didn't do so well in it. And the best part is that we'll probably get some objective responses this time. But feel free to take digs at any clubs. After all, that's what this platform is for. All right, so let's start with the champions of Europe. Bayern Munich went perfect in this tournament, not being beaten or drawn even once. And that's never happened before, at least to my knowledge, since there were group stages in this competition. And, it's a phenomenal achievement. And to think that they were floundering at the start of the season, I said it in my Bundesliga show on this channel when we did the review that I thought this might be Dortmund's chance to win the league again. But, well, Bayern Munich have gone on and done the treble. So, Aakash, what do you think changed from early season to now? Like, to go from being a little bit wobbly to now being treble winners this season? What changed?
I think what changed is the mentality. The players kind of knew how Hansi Flick used to, he was an assistant of Joachim Löw for Germany in the World Cup. So the core of Germany, which is mainly consists of German players, they know what to expect. So what I believe is a lot of things happen behind the scenes. So the mentality definitely changed for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, they didn't change any players. I mean, the players were still there. I don't think they bought anyone in January. So, yeah, this is remarkable, right? Like a team that kind of seems like at the end of the line, at the start of the season, and then suddenly, you see them revitalized all of a sudden and go on. I don't think we've seen that before, quite frankly, even considering that the Bundesliga is not a very competitive league at the moment. But still, it's remarkable, isn't it? To watch a team that seems at the end of its powers, but then suddenly you watch them and they are now like at the top of their game again. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like they were losing 5-1 to Frankfurt, if I remember, when Niko Kovac was sacked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And looking forward, as the UCL record has been, you can see that They have like 100% win rate in the group stages, and they went on to embarrass Spurs and Chelsea in the knockouts. So it was phenomenal. And let me not start what happened against Barcelona. I mean,
Yeah, no, we'll talk about that for sure. Yeah,
yeah, of course.
yes, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first dig of the night. I hope that will not be our only, but yes, we have to have one. A subtle shot. But speaking of Chelsea, Nishi, you watched them hammer Chelsea in the round of 16. Now, so you've seen them firsthand. Like, what do you think? What do you think sets them apart from everyone else?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. I
Why?
didn't think I had enough reasons to be remember that game. But yeah, I think Bayern have been fantastic, and credit where it's due. Hans Flick, he has really been the reason for the change. So, like Aakash mentioned, Nico, he was the understudy of Joachim Low, and how Nico Kovac was doing. So I think the major differences are there are differences in tactics definitely, but I think what he has done is he earned the trust of the players. He has played for Bayern before, and he was there in the coaching staff. So I think he earned the trust of the players. He brought the group together. There were players like Müller who seemed to be in their decline when Niko Kovac was the coach. But look at Thomas Müller under him. He scored, I guess, 20 plus goals, and gave assists as well around that. So that has the change has been that he has got the core back. He knows who are the players who can win in the game. And tactically, Niko Kovac famously said that it's not about tactics; it's only about moving the ball from point A to point B. So that kind of shows probably the last nail in his coffin before he was sacked after that 5-1 defeat. But definitely, they have improved tactically. They have again started building from back, and the players seem to have confidence in the coach. They have confidence in each other. They have, there has been a revival in the psychological, aspect, in the mentality aspect. So I think that's probably the reason why they have done what they have done this season.
We don't have a Liverpool fan here, but quick controversial question: who's the better fullback? Is it Davis or is it Alexander-Arnold? Anyone wants to take a stab at it?
I'd say Alexander-Arnold, just for the amount of assists he has had, just by stats, he's been pretty good. But yeah, definitely these fullbacks that Bayern have used, be it Benjamin Pavard or Alphonso Davies, both have been really well. Davis will be the most aggressive one among the two. But even when Pavard wasn't there, Thomas Kimmich, who actually played as midfielder when they beat us in the first leg,
Joshua Kimmich.
Joshua Kimmich, my bad. He now he now
combined
is
two players there.
yeah. He played as a right back in the semis, and I think even in the finals.
Yeah.
So they have players who are versatile when it comes to their positioning. That really has been good, and obviously the way he's using those players, and so that Müller can have his half spaces to operate within, and obviously Lewandowski has been in the form of his life. I don't think there's a better striker in the world at this moment. So
yeah, and I don't think there's any debate about
yeah.
that. I think he is the best striker in the world right now. Yeah, I think this all makes a lot of sense actually with the way that things have gone. But there was another team in the final as well. Speaking of the champions, and it's been a decade since I guess Qatar took over PSG. I don't know the name of the actual company that took it over. I'm going to say Qatar took over PSG, and they spent a lot of money. Obviously, they've brought in a lot of marquee names, and finally, they made it to the big match, and they didn't do too badly. I don't think they played badly at all. They created chances. They missed a few big ones as well. But it must be frustrating for them now to be so close yet so far again. And this season they did change the policy a little bit. I don't think they bought any big names aside from Icardi, which was a loan. So it seems that new policy is working for now. But where do they go from here? Do you think this loss will affect them psychologically like it did Tottenham? Or do you think it will spur them on like it did Liverpool? Shashwat, I would like you to answer this one, and I'm assuming that you're going to enjoy this chance to take a dig at Spurs. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, what do you think?
Yeah. So, in my opinion, yeah, I think PSG had a very good Champions League season. They improved considerably under Thomas Tuchel. Means especially the game against Atlanta, I think, which they dominated in the second half. But and in past season, if you see, if you would have seen, they would have bottled that game. But they came out and won that game. So and also was they dominated against Leipzig. But I think against in the final, I don't think. Yeah, they came very close, but I think still I believe they will improve in the next season. Yeah, this loss might haunt them continuing next season also. But Thomas Tuchel is, I think, a better coach who can deal with this type of things, and also they have the money. Yeah, I think Thiago Silva has left the club, and they have got money. They can buy a good centre back from there. So overall, I think things are good for PSG, but yeah, they need next year. This Champions League defeat might be haunting them next season. Means
Yeah,
means they
well,
get an opportunity. Yeah,
yeah, well, I mean, Thiago Silva went for free to Chelsea. They don't get any money for that. But I think they have completed the signing of Icardi now. Like he's permanently
yeah, yeah,
there. But maybe they can put Marquinhos at centre back finally and bring in a proper midfielder. Um,
yeah.
but it's what about like name star players like Neymar, for example? I mean, this is a question we ask every year, right? Every year PSG go out and every year we ask this question. It's kind of like Harry Kane at Tottenham. Like, is Neymar wasting his time at PSG? Now he's 29 now, and he's going to know that chances like these are running out for him. How is he going to be considering his future? I know he's been talking about being a team player and he's happy at PSG, but is this now another moment where he's going to be considering his future, Nishi? Do you think, or do you think he's just like, well, whatever, we've come so far, we've got another year now.
Thing with Neymar is, where to if not PSG? I mean, among the clubs that can actually afford him, not just to buy him, but also to pay his wages. Aren't many clubs who can afford him. Where where he necessarily has a better chance to win Champions League than at PSG. I think PSG currently have a squad that would be envy of many coaches and a coach that would be envy of many clubs. So they actually have a really good coach. They have a very good squad, and they need not worry too much about losing the final. You mentioned Tottenham. Tottenham, what they did was miracle. So you kind of knew that if they didn't win that time, it would take many, many, many years for them to climb that mountain and be in the final again. They simply didn't have the squad. What they did was just a miracle, to say. So it's not that for PSG. They had a bit of, there was kind of a scene where they would never, do that well, go past semi-finals, but they clearly have, that monkey is off the back now. So they have reached the final, and I think they have the team. They have a coach with the tactical acumen of getting them back there. So Neymar should stick with PSG unless there's a chance that he could go to Barcelona while Messi decides to stay there. Unless that happens, I don't think there's a point in leaving PSG. He's going to win all the domestic titles, obviously, and that probably is the club that has the best chance to be in finals again. And they didn't really lose very badly, so it's not like they played really bad or anything like that. So you can get some positives from the game, and that would I think they can be in final again.
Yeah, because it's still a team that is somewhat in their
Yeah.
prime, right? I mean, like Thiago Silva is
Yeah.
leaving, but they still have Marquinhos, Herrera, Verratti,
Yeah.
Mbappe. They still
Yeah.
have players who are in their
Yeah.
prime. So it's not necessarily it's a cycle coming to an end.
Definitely. So yeah, they have a good team. They'll be there for at least a couple of more years.
For sure. So, I was going to save this question for later, but since you brought it up now, we'll talk about it now. We'll talk about, because I think it links to the Neymar situation. But the biggest match in terms of what has happened since then, the fallout and all of that, wasn't the Champions League final. I think we can all agree on that. It wasn't the Champions League final. It was the game between Barcelona and Bayern Munich. 8-2 defeat to Barcelona. I mean, it's a defeat of seismic proportions at any point in
Yeah,
the season. But having
Absolutely.
it happen on such a big
it's an
occasion.
Arsenal level defeat, if you want to put it that way.
Oh, okay. And she's saying that as a Chelsea
Yeah,
fan, so there's no bias there, by the way, guys. I know. But so much has happened since then. I mean, Setien is gone, so they've lost one manager. A new manager has come in, Ronald Koeman. He's told Suarez and Rakitic he wants them to leave, among other players, I'm sure. And then most importantly, maybe as a consequence of telling these players to leave, Messi now has said he doesn't want to stay either. He wants to leave as well. And now we've had these debates on social media back and forth, on the group, elsewhere. So let's leave that aside for a moment. Let's start with the club. We know that there are problems at this club that are beyond just the playing staff. So how do you even begin to address that, Adarsh? Akash, where do you start with the rebuild, which is obviously needed at this point, right?
Okay, so let's be honest here. First of all, their chairman, Bartomeu, is disliked by most of the Barcelona fans, and rightly so.
Hmm.
He's known to make some shady financial deals. I mean, I'm not sure about this, but it's being circulated all around the social media. And
Like the
you can
Arthur
see,
Pjanic one, yeah.
absolutely, yes.
Hmm.
And also, you can see with the squad, I mean, the core, like the experienced players they have right now, are all like 30 plus with their age. So, and each and everyone are declining and they're earning like 200 grand a week. So, which is not justifiable. So, for me, the first thing is to have a proper clear out.
Hmm.
So, but it has to be in a systematic manner. I mean, it shouldn't be with what happened with United and when we got David Moyes. After that season, we literally you can see Nemanja Vidic, Ferdinand, Evra, all were aging, but we have to move past them in a proper manner. So for me, Ronald Koeman has to bring in some young players, some hungry players who want to play for the club. So that should be a start. And again, the main reason is too much player power. This is again down to Bartomeu, in my opinion, because let's be honest here, he's a yes man for Lionel Messi. As of now, because you can see what's happening behind the scenes. Messi wants to leave, and he's basically saying that
Yeah,
no.
I think anyone who becomes a chairman will be yes man to Lionel Messi, given his clout there, and the way fans deify him. So, if anyone, I think Messi is the most powerful person in Barcelona. It's not their
Yeah,
chairman
yeah,
or
definitely.
CEO or
Probably.
anyone.
Yeah.
That's true, but I think that shouldn't be the case. When I think Ferguson said once, when a player is bigger than the club, it's the right time to move him on. So for me, that's the main thing. You have to keep your head down, stay humble, play for the club. Don't play for Messi. That's my
Yeah, but
take on this.
when Ferguson said that, he said that for David Beckham, and if
Eh,
you can't quite compare David Beckham and Messi. Messi is probably like 10, 15 levels above him. Beckham couldn't win you games like how Messi did. So it's probably easier said for a player like Beckham than it would be to implement in reality for a player that can have an impact like Messi.
I mean, let's talk about Messi in a second because I'm going to come to that, but I want to stick to the issues of the club, and we'll come to Messi. But is a first step. Akash touched on it about how for a rebuild, you don't want to sell everyone at the same time. You want to do it systematically. Uh, Now, is Koeman then doing the right thing? Is he doing the right thing by telling Suarez and Rakitic, among other players? I'm not sure who the others are, but I know he's definitely told Suarez and Rakitic that he doesn't want them there. He wants them to leave. So is that right? Just to come in and say, you know what, I don't want you guys here. I haven't seen you play for me, but I know you guys are not going to fit my system. I want you to leave. Or should he just give them a chance to prove themselves before saying that? I mean, is there dissent because of that? When a new manager comes in and says right away, you know what, I don't fancy you guys. You've seen it happen in the past, but is that a reason for discontent there, Nishi? Like players are kind of fearing for the future, and then Messi's kind of speaking up for that.
That's definitely could be a part of the equation. But Barcelona right now, sometimes if you want to build something new, you have to tear the existing structure apart, and that's the position Barcelona are in right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it won't be a simple change of few midfielders or a few players from here and there, or a change in coach that would do the job for them. Barcelona needs a complete overall that would, in my opinion, go on for another 4 or 5 years. It won't be something that you can just do it in 1 year. And from that perspective, I think Koeman is the right appointment, because he's not the coach who has won a lot or has a very stellar CV. But if you want to be in a position where you're going to build something, get some young players come in and change the whole starting 11. I think he's a good coach to do that. I don't think he's necessarily going to be the coach that would take them to back to CL glory, or continue back to back trophies. But he can probably set up a structure for someone else to take over. Now, coming to your question, that definite. I think a coach should be allowed to have his own 11, uh, pick his own 11, and if he says to a player that I don't necessarily see you being part of my squad, I think he's being honest. Rather, I'd rather that someone comes and says it to my face as a player. And most players, I think they would say the same thing, that as a coach, it would be better if someone says that you're not going to play to a player on the face, rather than just shunning them out, like probably what's happening between Zidane and Bale, if the media reports are to be believed. But so in that case, I think he's within his rights to say that. And that the fact that this has been a cause for discontent, and for what Messi has done, only only proves me right when I say that Messi is the most important man in the club. And I think Aakash is right when I think it's time for Barcelona to move on, and I think it's time for Messi to move on. They have, I don't think either party owes anything to the other party. So I think if Barcelona wants to build something new and something for the future, they need to change everything right now what they have, from their president to coach and to the players that there are in the starting 11. And because they have really made some bad investments, when you think about Dembele and other players like Griezmann and Vidal and God knows who else they have bought, it hasn't really
Coutinho.
clicked.
You forgot the big
Coutinho,
one.
yes.
Coutinho.
Yeah,
The
Coutinho,
Champions
who
League winner
actually,
now, by the
yeah,
way.
he's a Champions League winner, and they didn't think that he was good enough to play for them. So, they haven't made good decisions for sure. So, let's see. I think Messi should move on, and Barcelona should go on a complete overhaul of the squad and the club.
Okay. So on that note, then we kind of touched on it. So let's get into the Messi debate at this point. Let's start with you, Aakash. Now, we know that nobody's going to pay 700 million euros. Not in this market, not ever. I would assume nobody would want to pay 700 million euros for a player. If somebody were to pay 150 to 200 million euros, let's say that's the amount that they agree on, that if someone pays between 150 and 200 million euros, should Barcelona then say, you know what, that's fine, let's let him go? He's 33 years old at this point. Yes, he's probably one of the greatest players. He is definitely one of the greatest players in the game, probably the greatest. Is it fair now for Barcelona to say, you know what, it's fine, we'll take 150 or 200 million euros, we'll let you go? Should they do that? Or and let's not say that whether they will or won't, but should they do that? Like, it doesn't make financial sense to do it.
I think they should have a gentleman's agreement, how Ronaldo had with Florentino Perez, that if an offer comes worth 100 million or something, they should just move on. And looking at Barcelona's current financial mess, and Messi is earning about $1 million per week. So that's pretty much, they should look at their wage structure. They should clear out and try to rebuild. And I know it takes time. The fans will be like, go crazy when Real Madrid wins probably 2 or 3 back-to-back La Ligas, but it takes time. So I just want them to have a moment and just consider that if Messi leaves, it won't be an instant success after that. It will take time, and it should happen, because it will happen at some point of time. So why not now? Take 150 million, save 100 million wages per year, just move on. And what I believe is, so the clubs linked with Lionel Messi, I believe Man City are closely linked. But again, when you look at City's squad, they are not short of goals. Okay, they are short of match winners in the big games. So that's where Messi comes in. But again, you have seen in the last few years that Messi hasn't really helped in
Yeah,
those
is he still
knockout
match winner?
fixtures. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to improve something at City and you have like let's say 200 million to invest, you improve on the back line. You don't improve at the front because you already have Sterling, you have Aguero. You can replace Aguero, but that's not a direct replacement for. I mean, Messi is not a direct replacement of Aguero because he's already 33. So you go there and get a new striker, or like they already got Ferran Torres come in.
Yeah.
I don't know what he will do exactly. So yeah, what I believe is they have to improve on the back line rather than getting Messi straightforward.
Correct. Messi might prove detrimental to the balance that Manchester City has, bringing a player like that. But obviously, who wouldn't want Messi?
Okay, that's
Yeah,
that
but
sound that you're hearing right
hmm,
now is angry Manchester City fans, thumping their keyboards at the listening speakers talking about this. Um, but no, but on that note, I think if you touch on it, then we talk about 150, 200 million euros. We know there's a legal challenge happening right now by Messi to let him go on a free. Is that legally possible? Do you think he'll win that argument of going on a free?
I don't think so. I mean, I have read that he had a clause till probably June 30th or something. But even
June
if that
10th. Yeah.
happens, okay, June 10th. So even if that happens, I mean, it wouldn't look good on Messi, I believe. I mean, he has given him the club a lot of goals, a lot of success, but again, he's earning like 1 million per week. So you have to like compromise it somewhere. No matter how
Yeah.
big of a club legend you are, you have to repay them back. So
Well, I
yeah,
mean, yeah, that's totally true. But
I don't think
there
it's
is.
going to go that far to the courts. I think Barcelona and City would come to some sort of agreement of 150 million pounds, and Barcelona will sell Messi.
Yeah. Just keep in mind though that if Messi hires City's lawyers, he can probably get out of the contract. City have the
that's a
best
fact.
lawyers. But then okay,
That
but if you
yeah,
touch on that, then you talked about City agreeing to 150 million pounds price. Let's say it's a free transfer. Let's assume that it's a free transfer. I put this on the group the other day. You're still looking at about my conservative estimate was about 110 million pounds wages and signing bonus for 3 years. Probably will be closer to 150 million pounds. Just wages, just signing bonus. That's what it's going to be. If you're adding another 100 million pounds, let's say that's 250 million pounds. Is that a justifiable investment for if even for Manchester Cities or even PSG? Is that a justifiable investment for 3 years for Messi?
it's not considering he's 33 years old.
Yeah,
It's
even
not for a
otherwise,
player
like
that age. Otherwise, had it been, if Messi were 25, 26, then yeah, a player of that quality, because the amount of money he brings to the club, your shirt sell, and all that thing that he could do in terms of a media power for a club, that's huge. So that'll offset the money. 200 million won't be very difficult for a club to offset when it comes to Messi. But still, for a 33-year-old, I think it's a very, very risky investment. But if you don't take risk, you'll gain nothing. So
Shashwat, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I believe, in my opinion, I think if you pay 250 millions for Messi, then I think City will pay it because they want the Champions League, and that is the only thing that Pep Guardiola has been failing at the moment. Yeah, he has dominated the Premier League. He has dominated the wins English leagues, but he is not able to win the big one, that is the Champions League. So maybe bringing in Lionel Messi and probably a centre back that they are looking for. They have bought Ake, I think, and they might be looking to bring in one more centre back. So maybe they will be trying to win because they are at the moment lacking a match winner. That we saw in the in the quarterfinal against Lyon. They were the firm favorites, but they still couldn't beat Lyon. So that small margin of error cost them the game. So I think just because of that Champions League and Pep Guardiola's record which he had with Messi, maybe that is the reason why the City could go for, could pay the money up to 200 million or 150. I think that is my view regarding this.
Yeah, well, Shashwat, let me tell you something. If they pay 250, if they do a full 250 million pound package for Messi, even the city's powers of escaping FFP legislations, I think it'll be a little bit hard to justify then spending on another defender, another 40 million pounds or whatever they would pay. But I don't know. Who knows, right? But on that note, then here's an off-the-cuff question for you guys: is Messi more of a hindrance? Because if he comes to City, the player that I see missing out is actually going to be Phil Foden, right? The guy, because you'd probably assume that he was going to get more of a chance this next year, but you can't see Sterling drop out. You're not seeing Mahrez drop out. Aguero, Jesus probably wouldn't be so affected. Bernardo Silva can probably play in midfield, and Ferran was obviously going to be a backup. So the guy who's probably going to be thinking about his future, it's got to be Phil Foden, right? Isn't that then a hindrance to the future?
I think Foden is a good talent. We have all seen last season what he has done with City, and
Yeah.
credit goes to Pep, of course, because a season before that it was looking like he will be the next one to go out, like Brahim Diaz. So, in my opinion, I think they should just ease Foden in. I mean, he shouldn't be a regular start, in my opinion. Just like what Greenwood is about to Man United, Foden is to Man City. So the reason, for, like when you compare these both players, United are still looking for a right forward, and that is not naturally Greenwood's position, but he plays there just to add that extra. So I think Man City, they are trying to do is to play Foden behind the striker in the role where De Bruyne and David Silva used to play, and to add a new forward on the right side. So I think Sterling still plays. Mahrez might miss out because he's already like aging. He's 30 right now, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And
29,
Messi,
30, I think.
yeah, and Lionel Messi, of course, he's like the best player in the world, so he gets in there without any doubt. So it adds quality score depth. I mean, I'm not saying about Messi, but Mahrez, Foden, Ferran Torres. So yeah, I think it will be a good mixture. But I also have one more point to say. Let's say hypothetically, Man City gets Messi and they win the Champions League. So what's next for Pep? I mean, people will still say that he wins the Champions League only with Messi. So my question is he a fraud?
I'm sure City fans have an answer to that one for you, whether he's a fraud or not. But if he wins it with Messi, but I mean, yeah, I mean that's a hypothetical question. I think that is something that we'll have to keep an eye on. Obviously, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's difficult to say. Like, is he gonna help? Is he gonna be a hindrance? I don't know. I just see that the player who's most in danger to miss out will probably be Foden, because he's not established yet, right? So he's someone who's still learning the trade. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. And I don't want to make this too Messi centric. I know discussions tend to go that way. So we'll park that for now, and we'll move on. We'll change gears, and let's talk about the Europa League. I mean, let's talk about Sevilla, once again champions. They're some team, aren't they? I mean, I always like to use the WWE analogies, and if I can use one here. It looks, Sevilla are the kind of guy that if you put them in the contention for the WWE title, the World Championship, nobody would take them seriously. Nobody would buy them as a threat. There would be someone like you're like, okay, maybe like top 8, kind of like a good sort of warm up victory for the actual champion. Whoever wants to contend for the champion, a nice warm up victory, but wouldn't really see them as a threat. But you put them a level below for the Intercontinental Championship, for example, and suddenly everybody buys them as a threat. Everybody sees them as someone that they can buy into, someone who's really believable as a champion, as a threat. And that's kind of where Sevilla are at the moment. That in like the Miz, if you know who that is, very believable Intercontinental champion, but nobody would buy them as a WWE champion. So that's how I see them. Shashwat, what do you think? Is that an appropriate analogy for Sevilla? They mastered the competition, right? They know how to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm agreeing with you regarding this. Sevilla has, I think, won the 6 consecutive, I mean, 6 out finals out of 6 in the Europa League, which is, I think, a great record. But when it comes to Champions League, I think they are knocked out of the quarterfinals. So it's not there means. I think it is just because the other teams are better. And in Europa League, I think the game that you saw against Manchester United, I think that was the game which really I think United should have won. In my personal belief, because they were constantly attacking, and if Martial and the forwards would have finished it, Rashford, then I think they could have won. But the but the couple of chances which Sevilla got, they punished them, and same goes with Inter Milan. So game, which I think was a very very close one. So in Europa League, I think they are the best team at the moment. Just like Real Madrid is in Champions League, they are in Europa League. It's formidable. But when it comes to Champions League, I think this is where they tend to lose because other teams are slightly better. So that is why I think they tend to fail there. So in my
It's kind of
opinion,
like certain teams just know how to win certain competitions. Like right, Real Madrid know how to win Champions Leagues, Sevilla know how to win Europa Leagues, Arsenal know how to win FA Cups. It's kind of like that,
yeah,
isn't it? With the Sevilla and Europa, like they just kind of know how to win the competition.
yeah, definitely. I think in Europa League, I think they are the way they play with that with lot of seriousness and passion. I think that's what I have saw then. I think I have saw it with Atletico Madrid and Sevilla. Both tend to means play this competition very seriously, and
Yeah.
that is why I think they are so successful, in my opinion.
For sure. And as we touched on it, I mean, obviously the big money is in the Champions League, though. Like at the end of the day, that's where the big boys play. That's rightly or wrongly. And at some point, they should be focusing on going deeper than just the uh, in that competition, because most of the times you find them either going out of the round of 16, even of the 6 Europas that they've won. I think a couple actually came after they dropped down from the Champions League. I think they've only managed one quarterfinal in the last 16 years. So at some point they've got to look to. It's not a very flattering record when you look at the Champions League. So is that something that they need to improve on, Akash, or do you think it's just that they know that that's their ceiling of being the Europa, and so they're focused on being a good Europa team, and they don't really care how deep they go in the Champions League, if at all?
I believe I still have doubts whether they can do better in the Champions League.
Hmm.
Probably they can reach like a round of 16 or quarterfinals at the most. As you can see from the past records, they reached quarterfinals against United, and when Mourinho was the manager.
Maybe
So
that's why they
obviously,
got there, but
yeah, you can say that because we had a dismal squad. That I mean, we played dreadful football. I can vouch for that. But
yeah,
again, you can see that following year, no, a year before that, when they faced Leicester and they lost against Leicester, which was a shock.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah, of course they won the Premier League, Leicester. No disrespect to them, but again, Sevilla losing to Leicester is anything but a shock. So what I believe is Champions League is a bit too much for them. So yeah, getting out from Champions League is a bonus.
yeah. No, I mean, maybe they. I mean, I don't know what maybe the focus is that it's better to win a Europa League and finish as a quarterfinalist or a semi-finalist in the Champions League. Maybe that's the attitude. Not sure, but yeah, they definitely. I think it's a very unflattering record for them, especially considering the great success that they've had. But speaking of unflattering records, we've got to talk about the Premier League. And a lot of talk last season was, 4 finalists, never happened before. 4 finalists, all from England. England is ready to dominate. The Premier League is ready to dominate. We've got so much money coming. And then this season, everybody knew, any sane person knew that it was going to be a level drop. But I don't think anyone expected this kind of a level drop. Like no English team in the final, just one in a semi-final. That was in the Europa League. It's is that like I don't know, what is it just the fact that English teams have been mediocre by and large this past decade? So last season was definitely a one-off. Is this season also a one-off and they'll do better next season, or do you think there was some issue there that's holding them back? I mean, Shashwat, like, what do you think? Is there reason to be concerned?
Yeah, I believe in Premier means according to me means Premier League side had struggled a bit this season in the Champions League. Especially there was a high expectations, especially from the teams like means Tottenham, because they had a very good season. I think they were lucky, but they still had a very good season before that in the Champions League. But the way they lost against Bayern Munich was 7-2. That was a very means very very discouraging. And also against Leipzig, they were in across both the legs. They were not good. So
Yeah,
that was with Spurs. Next goes with Liverpool. I think Liverpool just how underestimated Atletico a little bit. I think that in that game, but still they should. I means Atletico Madrid are a very physical team, and they played better in both the legs. So I think there was a little bit, and Manchester City, that that we are seeing at the moment, they should have at least gone to the semi-finals, and they should have been and there means that defeat against Lyon would have been a concern for them, because everyone tipped them to win, to beat them, and maybe go to and win the Champions League. So, in my opinion, I think, but uh, slowly and steadily, I think next season they might be, because every team is now, and plus Real Madrid and Barcelona are at the moment sliding down a little bit. I know Real Madrid, Barcelona, you have just saw that they are having a new coach, and also Real Madrid who are the most successful team, and I think they are also means a little bit young, means at the moment raw squad, not that experienced as it was 4 or 5 seasons before, means up to the way they won the 3 Champions League consecutively. So in my opinion, they means English teams will have their chances, and I think they will improve next season.
Yeah, I mean, the performance charts, if you take a quick look at it, Arsenal went out in the round of 32 in Europa. Liverpool, Spurs, and Chelsea all down in the round of 16 in the Champions League. Manchester City made it to the quarterfinals and then got out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Then Manchester United in the semifinals of the Europa League. And Wolves, of course, I forgot about them. They went out in the quarterfinal of the Europa League as well. So, I mean, clearly we know City and United bottled it in their matches. I think they should have won. Both of them should have won their games, really, and they both kind of missed up their chances. Liverpool, very bizarre, un-Liverpool-like game that they went out in, because they actually took the lead in that one after being behind, and then they gave it up. Like, it was just bizarre. It was a game that shouldn't have happened anyway because of different reasons, but nonetheless, Chelsea had no chance, pretty much. I think anybody would agree with that. And then Arsenal and Spurs, you just don't know what you get from them any season. It's so inconsistent. What went wrong, Aakash? I mean, is it now a case of like English clubs being complacent in the games that they played? I'm sure City would have been. I mean, there might have been a case of City thinking too far ahead of, like, getting ready for Bayern and ignoring Lyon. Is there maybe even Liverpool were a bit complacent, as Shashwat touched on it? They might have underestimated Atletico a little bit. So, or is it just the fact that English are chokers? Like in these kind of games, they just choke. I mean, these kind of competitions.
I think, of course, Man City being the strongest club in England as of now, when it comes to pure squad quality, they have to do better in Europe, because first of all, they are managed by Pep, and he has to deliver in the Champions League apart from Barcelona. So I believe the expectations are high, and they are crumbling because of the pressure. So that is one thing I believe in for Man City. And for Liverpool, I think they don't have quality squad depth. They have a tremendous first 11, but you don't have game changers on the bench. So against last season, I think they got a bit lucky from Origi, as far as I'm concerned. So he was an impact sub. He did well. Liverpool were flying, but this season it was not the case, because you know how the Premier League goes. I mean, and how the way Liverpool play, they really press hard. So a lot of energy is utilized. So I believe they need to have some game changes. We can actually come off the bench and have an impact straight away. And as far as Chelsea and United are concerned, I think they are a young squad managed by, you can say, rookie managers, because from both Lampard and Ole are like at the top level as they are rookies. So I don't think a lot is to be expected from them. And for United, I think it wasn't a total disaster if they went out from Sevilla, because Sevilla are known to be, as you said earlier, the kings of Europa League.
Yeah.
And for Chelsea, I think they did well. And of course, Bayern were the favorites for the Champions League. So literally no one expected them to like qualify against them. So what I'm saying is an overreaction is unnecessary. You should just wait and see what happens for the next season, and nothing happens. And then, probably the mentality has to change.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, Chelsea have got to be I've got to be like up there next season with all the money that they're spending on players. Looks like they're buying a new player every day at the moment. It just feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah, and I think a big factor there is probably the fact that these last few games, the quarterfinals onwards, were one-legged games. We know English players never do well in such competitions. We can watch the World Cup or European Championships for that. But it definitely had a positive impact for smaller clubs, right? Who are now encouraged to attack because they don't fear this away goals rule and things like that. So, what do you think of this one-legged format? Nishi, I know Chelsea didn't get a chance to play in that, but you've seen the games. Do you like it? Do you think it's,
Yeah.
it's something worth considering?
I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I do understand why we have one-legged game, why we had it this season,
Yeah.
and probably would be a good idea even for next season because we have a lot of games within a shorter period of time. That's what's going to happen this time. So it probably would be a better, good idea for next season to reduce the number of games people have to play. But in general, I think with two legs, you give a bit more of a chance to a team. They have to perform over a course of 180 minutes, and you have different factors that come into play, things like away goals. So that makes it kind of more interesting, and I think that's the format that I personally want Champions League to be played in, the way it has been so far. But yes, for the current season, the season that was and the season that's going to start now, I think one-legged game, knockout games would be a good idea considering how many games we have to play, and there isn't that much time as it normally would be. So yeah, for now it's okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say that the current two-legged format favors bigger teams because they have more time to to get back into a game or more opportunities. But again, if it's definitely something to be considered, even outside of the fact of what this current situation is. If there's always talk every year, a couple of years about having a club World Cup in the future. If they want to do that, that is. I mean, I don't think they should, but if they want to do that, this is something that definitely would be considered. But I mean, Shashwat, it does deprive big players of seeing big players at the stadiums, right? I mean, imagine having a game between Arsenal and Milan, and you're hoping to see Ibrahimovic or Rebic or whoever at your stadium, and then you get told, what? No, we're going to play this in Germany, or we're going to play this in Portugal. It does take away from that. Is that something that you know? To be taken in mind, because that's kind of why you want to be in Europe, right, as a club, because you want to see these big players, at least for fans who go to the stadiums. You want to see these players playing at Emirates or Anfield or wherever. You want to see them at your stadium as opposed to just watching them in a neutral ground, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think, in my opinion, I think also means at this current, I have to agree with Nishikant at the moment because because if even if in the this season, the current season 2021, I believe the knockout stages should be a one-legged tie because because either way you have to play 38 games in the Premier League, and also we have seen that Carabao Cup and means FA Cup there will be no replace in that. So in Champions League, I think for this particular season, I think one-legged tie will be perfect. Uh, and for but starting from the next season, that is 2021, I believe the same format should be there. That is the two-legged tie, in which, as you have said, that if Arsenal qualifies and if they get Real Madrid, then it will happen. And if they come to, if imagine Benzema or or some other means
Yeah.
Hazard coming back again playing for at Emirates, then it will have a better crowd will come and watch them. As you can see in terms of Juve, if Arsenal is drawn against Juventus, then Cristiano Ronaldo coming in this stadium means in Emirates, that will draw a lot more fans there. So I think for the next for the current season means at this till the COVID says, one-legged tie is going to be should be the format, because as we are having so many games and players are also means will tire, and from the next season, then I think the two-legged ties are the best option, because you will get more dramas, more intensity, especially in the second legs. So in my opinion, that should be there in the should be the next process, I believe.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I think the one-legged format does seem to benefit smaller clubs a little bit, at least. Like and it at least brings about some attacking football. But I get your point. I think, yeah, I think going back to, we do have a European Championship this next season as well, so they're gonna have to compress it, and I think they probably will do another one-off knockout tournament. They probably will go down that road, but we'll see how it goes. Nobody has any idea. We're doing a Champions League review show right now, but the next season of the Champions League is already underway with the qualifiers. I don't know if you guys have
Yeah.
been keeping tabs on that, but that's already ongoing. So it's a bit of a strange, weird situation to be in right now. Uh, but nonetheless, let's talk a little. Let's round up with a couple of tactical questions, since we know we'll try to pretend that we're a very analytical show. But we saw an explosion of ball playing center halves. Something in the last decade, like players who can play out from the back and stuff like that. Even emphasizing that over the ability to defend properly. You had defenders who were not good defenders, but were selected because they could play the ball properly. But this season, I mean, if you watch teams like Sevilla or Lyon or even Leipzig, for that matter, what you're seeing is, are we seeing a return to defenders who can defend, like, and people who have that ability to organize defenses and uh, lead the back line. I mean, overpicking players just because they're good on the ball. I mean, I mean, the likes of, you've seen the likes of Upamecano, Diego Carlos, even, Marcelo. I'm not saying that they're bad on the ball, but they seem to be better at defending than playing off on the back. And that kind of seems the primary reason why they're being selected. Is that something that you're noticing as well?
Well, I think this question is based on the premise that ball playing centre backs can't defend, which I think is not necessarily true. The term in its purest form is basically meant for centre backs who can effectively help their team build from the back. And if you see the current scenario, if anything that's happening is more and more teams are now playing from the back. Right? If you see, in fact, that
Well,
was the biggest change that Bayern Munich did when Hansi Flick came into charge.
no,
He,
yes, but yeah, no, I understand the
yeah,
question. But what I'm saying is that, I mean, let's take an example from Mascherano, for example. Everybody
no,
knows he's
I
not a
get
center
that.
half,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying he's a bad defender. I'm just saying he's not a central defender, but he was playing at central defense because he could, play out from the back, right? Same with John Stones. We know he's a mediocre defender, but the reason why he was playing for Manchester City was because he could play out
Uh-huh.
from the back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and what I'm saying is not that they're bad defenders, but they were being selected because they could play out from the
No,
back,
no,
not
they
that
were
they
bad
could
defenders.
defend.
I mean, John Stones and Javier Mascherano are not the ones I would consider to, be in first team of a team of a club like Barcelona or Manchester City. But I think there are. I don't think that these two. I get where you're coming from, but in
Yeah,
my opinion, this doesn't have to be an either-or situation.
yeah, of course
you,
not.
you
Yes.
don't, yeah. So I think there are defenders like Ramos, Bonucci, Varane. These are good defenders. You might argue the other way about Varane as well, but I think he's a good defender. But they all can help their team build from the back. Even
Hmm.
Virgil van Dijk, even he helps the team build from the back, and these are good defenders. So I think, while that I agree that teams should not compromise the defensive structure just to have someone who could pass the ball. You rather, and I think these days, more and more teams are playing out from the back, I think we are getting defenders who are not just good at defending, but also playing through, playing the ball and helping the team build up. The examples that you gave earlier, that was the initial days of this ball playing center back thing. So we didn't have defenders in that mode, because
Hmm.
earlier defenders would just hoof off the ball, just hoof and clear it away, just send it to row Z. That was the idea for a defender. So it was a change. And because it was a change, there was a dearth of defenders who had those attributes necessarily to pass the ball properly to the team. You saw the situation wherein probably a lesser defender would get picked into a team just because he could adjust in the tactics of the coach who wanted to try to build from the back. But I
Yes.
think going forward, I believe we would see more and more centre backs who are not necessarily where there isn't an either or situation, who will actually be good at defending as well as helping the team build from the back, whether it's with short passes or long passes, square passes, whatever it is. But defender who can help the team build up an attack. In my opinion, that's a ball playing center back. You don't
Yeah.
have to give a through ball to your striker. So that's not necessarily what I expect of a center back. So if they can make 3 meter passes and quickly move the ball in, they'd be a good ball player as well as a good defender.
Yeah, but I think what my point was that a lot of times what we were seeing was that defenders were being selected first based on their ball playing ability, and then if they could defend, yeah, they were a good defender or not. Now what we're seeing is that they need to be a good defender, and then
Yeah,
you look at, okay, they're also good ball players, so that's a bonus. But
yeah,
anyway, yeah, I guess we get there in the end. Yeah, and I think the other, so I mean, yeah, we're looking at a lot of these all-around players. I think linked to that, what I noticed as well is that what you see now, the biggest evolution is the style of the football has changed a little bit. I mean, there was a time in the early 2000s when it was all about like physical attributes, players who could, who had those, who could who could run all day, so to speak, or like, players who had the strength, the power, the pace and power stereotype rather. But those were important. And then towards the end of the 2000s came the tiki taka, technical evolution, where, why run when you can just pass the ball, players who could zip around, make passes and like make 200 passes in a game or whatever. But now I think there seems to be this convergence almost, like you need to have both physical and technical attributes. Look at Goretzka, for example, or even Bruno
Absolutely.
Fernandes, or even Herrera, players who can pick out good passes from midfield. They can run the game from midfield, but then if they lose the ball, they're immediately running back to track back, to make a tackle, to get get the ball back, or they're like making runs forward to support the attack or win a penalty. I know someone who's going to say that, so I'll say it first. Mr. Bruno Fernandes. But Liverpool did it successfully last year, right? Having this convergence, and now Bayern have taken that a level forward. They're doing this as well now. Is that Shashwat? Is that going to be the new approach, like at the highest level, having players who are both technically good and physically able to last 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think it will be just like you just now told that tiki taka was the main means attribute which Pep brought. But
Mhm.
now I think the physical attributes and as well as the creativity, which I think is both are very important at the moment, because just we saw in the Champions League, Goretzka was one of the means has done a very good job for Bayern, as well as Bruno Fernandes. I think as much as I have trolled him for penalty, but I think this guy
You're
has
not alone.
absolutely has changed the Manchester United team. And the best thing about him is that some of the free kicks against which he has, the set pieces, as well as the some of the means he has brought a new fresh energy in Manchester United. So I think this will be the trend which will continue for the next couple of for the seasons to come, and maybe for the means at the moment. So in my opinion, that is absolutely correct for means this thing means
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an emphasis on having like all-round players, really, people who can do both. But then, I mean, is there, Akash, is there no place? I mean, I know this is a sore topic for Shashwat, but maybe I'll ask him this as well. But Akash, is there no place then for those technical players, like classical technical players, like like a Mata, for example, or even an Ozil, or dare I say, even a Messi? Is there no place for those kind of players who are not necessarily going to give you 90 minutes of full-on action, football, but they can produce those moments of magic, in a game if they're given an opportunity? Is there no place for those kind of players anymore in the biggest of games?
uh, I kind of disagree with this. I think definitely there is a place for them. As you gave an example of Goretzka, I can also say the same for Thiago. Thiago used to, I mean, he's playing for Bayern. I think he was the man of the match in the finals. Like I don't remember, but yeah, I think he was phenomenal for them. He just does for what, like as you can see, for what Carrick does for us. He just rotates the ball, gets it back. I mean, he used to play from the back. So What I believe is the game's way more tactical nowadays, because of which the physical attributes are not that relevant as they were used to probably a decade back. And the main reason for this is probably the availability of data. I mean, as you can see, most of the clubs are now moving forward to like hiring data scientists in a way to figure out what to expose the opposition to study. So I think what I think is, apart from this, the important factor is the physical fitness also. I mean, you can be the most clever footballer in the world, but you cannot succeed if you're not physically fit. So that's my take on this, and I will basically say it's still a 60-40 on a technical side for me.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, but that 40 looks like still important. I mean, Shashwat, I mean, you've seen Ozil, right? Do you think he would fit in this Bayern team, for example? Not necessarily ability, but even just the fact that physically, do you think he would last in this Bayern team for 90 minutes? Would they be able to accommodate him? Let's say prime Ozil. Let's not say today's Ozil, but let's say prime Ozil. Would he fit in that team?
Yeah, I believe current Ozil will not fit. I think because I think
I think everybody agrees with that one.
yeah, but the prime Ozil, I think he would have fit, because at the time when he was the Ozil we saw at Real Madrid and also for the Germany when he came in 2010, that was the Ozil which everyone means that would have fit in any team around the world. Means whether you means he was the hot property at that moment. He used to means go for the Ballon d'Or. Means he top 5 or top 6 he used to stay, and many people believe that because he used to get assist for for Real Madrid so much, and that is why I was so much glad when he signed for Arsenal in 2013-14 season. But then I think after that we just got a glimpse of him, and also there was too much criticism also. But now I think he's not able to last the full minutes, means due to his age also, and also lack of stamina. I think that is why means if you say prime Ozil, I think he would have fit in any team.
Would he fit in the Bayern team of today? Like, would the prime Ozil, if you say today Ozil was in his prime, would he fit in this Bayern team? Physically,
yeah, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah,
I've not seen much of Ozil, so I don't know the answer to that. But I will defer to you on that note. That if you think he would fit in, so So I mean, I guess the consensus here is that there's still a place for such players. I mean, I hope there is, because we like to see such players. I mean, it shouldn't all be about players running at 100 miles per hour every game. It's nice to see some technical skill or some brilliance as well. So I do hope there is a place, but sometimes I fear that there isn't, with the way the game is going, especially with the kind of players that are now coming through. Seems like there needs to be both rather than one or the other. But anyway, on that note, I think we're almost done here. Final question for all of you guys here. Your player of the tournament for the Champions League and the Europa Leagues. Let's start with you, Aakash. Who's your player of the tournament for the Champions League?
For the Champions League, it's definitely Robert Lewandowski.
All right.
He was the top scorer, and I believe if it were a 2-leg tournament, he would have broken Cristiano's record of 17 goals.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and as far as the Europa is concerned, I think I will go with Bruno Fernandes.
Okay.
Yes, United got knocked out in the semi-finals, but I believe he was good with Sporting as well as United, so that plays a factor. So yeah, that's for me.
Nishikant, your picks?
For Champions League, I'd say the same. It has to be Robert Lewandowski for what he did this season, what he achieved this season. And Europa League is a tough one. I haven't watched many of the games from Europa League, but it's. I think I think that both the attackers for Inter Milan, Lukaku and I forget the name of the other guy.
Martinez.
Those two, yeah,
Martinez.
Yeah, those two were good this season. But I haven't really watched Europa League a lot to actually give a proper judgment on who the best player was.
Well, that's fine. Yes, whatever you've seen. Shashwat?
Yeah, in my opinion, for UCL, I think I will go with slightly unpopular decision, but I will go with Gnabry because he was brilliant. I think he had a great season, and also Robert Lewandowski. I think from these two, I think just because of the least, means he's a slightly younger player, and I think he played very well in this season. So that's why I will slightly go with Canabry.
No Arsenal
And
bias there, of course.
no, yeah, yeah.
No,
And
that's fine. Yes.
yeah,
And for the
and for
Europa League.
Europa League, yeah, I will. I think I will go with Bruno Fernandes because he did well this season with both the teams, that is Sporting CP and Manchester United. I think he was the player of the tournament because he was the leading goal scorer, I think, and also he did well. I think that's why I think these two are my man of the tournament.
No Sevilla players for you guys. So yeah, so shows that they're more of a team rather than relying on individuals, maybe. All right. Well, no, thank you guys so much. That's really wonderful. Sorry, Aakash, you had something to add?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So that's it for this episode of Late Night Football. Thank you so much, guys, for being part of this show and sharing your expert insight today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Rohit. Thanks for having us here.
Guys, for sure. If you've enjoyed watching the show, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube, or follow us if you're watching it on iTunes, Spotify, or any of the other podcast channels. We really need your support in growing this channel, so please help us out. You can also join the Fox in the Box Facebook group if you're interested in discussing football or any other sports with like-minded people. The links are in the description below. Once you make a few comments and get your foot in the door, you can also be on this channel. I'm just saying. But no, but
that's a great incentive.
I know. Well, that's the incentive, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll be back next weekend with some more friends from Fox in the Box to the 2020-2021 Premier League season preview. Yep, it's already time for the new season to kick off. I mean, what a strange time to be alive. We're doing a review one week and then we're doing a preview the next week. But nonetheless, follow us on social media channels, Facebook and Twitter, to get updates on the show this coming week. Again, links are in the description below. Take care, everyone, and see you next week. Good night. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to that episode of Late Night Football. We need your help to grow this channel, so if you've been enjoying the show thus far, please do like and subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, drinking buddies, fellow football fans, and anybody else you know or don't know. We'd really appreciate it. Please also follow us on Twitter and Facebook via the links in the description below and spread the word about us. Take care.